Image maps, as the name suggests, are images and are similar to functional images, but instead of having a single click action, they can have multiple click actions. Prior to this description, if you didn't know what an image map was, it is probably safe to say you didn't create one, and you'll only need the following information if you are evaluating content that someone else has created. I can't guarantee it, but you will probably be able to say non-applicable for section 508 checkpoints E and F. Continue with this short tutorial to verify. If we are speaking of course content, while it is possible for HTML created within the Moodle HTML editor or text boxes to contain an image map, it is highly unlikely. You can't create one by accident, and there is no mechanism within the Moodle HTML editor to create one. You would need programming experience or an application external to Moodle to create one. I don't think image maps are used as heavily now as they once were, and I've not created one in so long that I did a search to look for a good example to use that might be seen in an educational setting, since an educational audience is who this presentation was designed for. Wikipedia actually uses a public domain image of the club, which portrays 9 members of a literary party. An image map would create a clickable region or hotspot demonstrated in the teal blue color over every individual in the image, so that you could click or hover to read information pertaining to that hotspot. Unfortunately, for Section 508 compliance, unless there is text on a page that tells you you can click on something within a picture, you can't tell simply by looking at an image whether it is a single-click functional image or if it is a multiple-click image map. You should be able to tell if something has the potential to be an image map, but you'd have to check to be sure. You either need to look at HTML code, or you use an evaluation tool on the page and look for information that identifies the image as an image map. HTML can contain a lot of information, so a targeted evaluation is recommended, in which case I would suggest the Firefox plugin Firebug. However, an easier way, dependent on the amount of images and other content on a page, is to use the Firefox Wave toolbar. We will ignore identifying through HTML and focus on using Wave. For a video introduction of the Firefox Wave toolbar, go to teaching.unc.edu/web-accessibility/vids/web-aim-wave-toolbar-introduction. Here are the 5 wave icons to look for that will tell you if a course or web page has an image map. The first, error, image map missing alternative text, and the second, error, image map area missing alternative text, definitely need remediation. The third, error server-side image map, we will look at in just a moment. The fourth and fifth should be evaluated similarly to evaluating functional images. Do the alternative texts convey equivalent information and or function of the link? Now we'll look at the specific checkpoints. E. Redundant text links shall be provided for each active region of a server-side image map. The actual pass-fail criteria for WebAIM indicates that you should use client-side instead of server-side image maps. This is highly encouraged since the checkpoint was written when it was more difficult to create non-geometric shape hotspots. If we look at this example for a server-side image map of the club, every one of the individuals in the portrait is a clickable hotspot. If we go to the Wave toolbar, Errors, Features, and Alerts, you'll see that it does detect two accessibility errors. One of them actually is that a server-side image map is present. Now, section 508E actually talks about redundant text links, and that's what these links are at the bottom of the page. So while it would be better to use a client-side image map, the fact that there are redundant text links for each individual in the portrait passes the criteria. Client-side image maps shall be provided instead of server-side image maps, except where the regions cannot be defined with an available geometric shape. So what do they mean when they say cannot be defined with available geometric shape? If we go back to our original image, the club, we can look at what would have been hotspots in the very early days of client-side image maps. Everything would have been squares or rectangles or circles. Notice there are areas that are covered by the rectangular hotspots that cover areas of background, and there are a few areas that could still be areas of a person that aren't actually covered. Later applications allowed you to create irregular shaped polygons, as seen in our previous example of hotspots. Even the following United States map example is now possible as a client-side instead of a server-side image map. The last example does show redundant text links, as it might be difficult for someone with a visual disability to distinguish when an area is selected. So here's a client-side image map. Again, we're looking at the club, and each one of the individuals is a clickable hotspot. If we go to the Wave toolbar, Errors, Features, and Alerts, and click, we'll see it detects accessibility features. And down at the bottom, you will notice the image map alternative text and hotspot alternative text. So this client-side image map passes for section 508F.